Alright, so with that, welcome officially everyone in the room and everyone virtually. This is the second session on the Canvas pilot. Last time we did the introduction, sort of what was about to happen. This time we are tackling the next stage, which is dealing with your course files. So with that, sort of a quick recap, and again, this is sort of from my instructor point of view, not so much the official training point of view, so I might give my opinion in here, so feel free to completely disagree with my opinion if that's the case. So first, I'm somewhere in between there, vested in Blackboard because I have years of content within Blackboard, and I've hopefully perfected my course up until this point. So I want to download all of that content so that I maintain a local file instead of having all of my eggs in one basket. And I don't ever want to go through this again. And I hate this pop-up. This is not part of the presentation, so please ignore it. Alright, so I don't ever want to go through this again. So I want to find a solution that hopefully has an overall goal of allowing me to be in control of my content a little bit more than I might be right now. So the solution, question mark there, because again, this is from my point of view. This might be completely not the solution for you. The solution for me is going to be to download all of my files and assignments. And again, last week I mentioned that my assignments are typed within Blackboard, which means that I have to copy paste those into a Word document so that I have a local copy. I need to do some sort of house cleaning with all of those files that I have then downloaded. I need to focus on the course objectives. So this now deals with the course design, and is my course the best course that it can be? So focusing on the course objectives means that I need to align all of my activities, assignments, and assessments so that they actually fall in line with those objectives. Sounds simple enough, but this is hard. The last few days I spent a few hours. This has been overall the hardest part. So Blackboard, Canvas, they're just tools or technology. I hate this guy. Don't show this message again. Okay. The hardest part has been actually trying to figure out, okay, what worked, what didn't work, what should I do differently this time around. So overall, the technology part has been the easiest. That's been the hardest. And then once I've decided on that and hopefully redesigned my course a little bit more, I will then upload that content to the cloud. So in my case, that's going to be Google Docs, maybe the blog that I maintain for my course, maybe the Facebook page that I created for the interactivity part. And then from within the LMS, so in this case from within Canvas, point to the cloud. So less vested in the users, the LMS technology, and more in the content that I control. And then hopefully all of that will allow me to be 2 steps ahead of my students, and I'm knocking on wood there. So with that, we're going to do sort of a little bit of before and after, so Blackboard versus Canvas regarding how I deal with course content. So first off, everyone should be pretty familiar with this interface since we've had it forever. Or at least I have had it since I started here. So under course material in any of my courses, this is what students would usually see, a folder for every single week. So some instructors do modules or chapter or whatever works for them. I just happen to go with folders. So week 1 contains all of week 1 content, week 2, week 3, all of them follow that exact same pattern. Now switching over to Canvas, the difference here isn't all that big of a difference actually. Instead of these big folder icons and it says week 1, bam, over here we see week 1 reality check, which is the title of week 1's content. So in this case they're going to be smaller links, so the focus visually for me is going to be more on maybe the overall description and whatever image I happen to slap in there. And this is really important, actually, especially for me in the courses that I teach because it's visual communication. So where this feels like, oh, lots of work, this one feels like, it feels lighter. Okay, so from the student's perspective, it might feel better, but they'll never know the difference. So week 1 before and week 1 after. So you see that there's a link there for week 1. So if I were to actually click on that link, this will be the next part. So now we'll focus actually on the specific week content, which is week 1. So before, in Blackboard, when I would click onto week 1, you would see the homework, and notice again that this is all typed within Blackboard. So I and everybody else has spent hours of time formatting these beautiful bullets or the indentation or freaking out because one thing didn't format exactly correctly. And I hear people come in here with this all the time saying, "Oh, I don't want that to be on that. I want it to be indented," or I freak out about small stuff like that, so I can understand how anybody else would. And in this case, I want to get away from this and put all of this instead of into a Word document which contains the full description of what's happening for the week. And I've had instructors who have done this in the past, and I have respected them for that because it seems, at least from the student point of view, that, oh, they're prepared. They have a week one handout. So that's sort of the direction I'm heading towards. So this was the before, where content was fully typed within Blackboard. So the after now is that that same content is linked to the cloud. So in this case, it points them to Google Docs, where they can find the syllabus, the full assignment description, the lecture notes, or any PDF files that I might include. So that's a big difference going from the before to the after approach. I can't say that anyone is better at this point. It's going to be really the student's perspective on, do I want to see everything up front? Is this easier for me to digest, as a student? Or as a student, would I print this? How do I feel about these due dates? And each student attacks this from a different perspective. So for some students, this is great. They love this. For other students, they would love this because they want to download all of those files so that they have it on their flash drive, so they don't have to log into Blackboard or Canvas in this case if they didn't want to. So it's neither is the better solution, just slightly different. So in this case, the main difference is now that is pointing to week one Google Docs. And I'm still, so even though on this page you can't actually see it, if I were to scroll down in Blackboard, you'd see that there was a link to the discussion board, a link to the assignment, maybe a link to the quiz, or any other links that I might have. It's just one long endless page because all of that content's within Blackboard. So in this case, all of that is a lot more condensed. So maybe if I freak out about lots of text, I might be able to digest this a little bit easier because everything is on one screen. So with that, we'll go ahead and do the next part. So the real difference, the before and after part with Blackboard and Canvas, is this little guy right there. So I mentioned before that I've been doing that house cleaning, downloading all my files, and then uploading them to Google Docs. So what does that really mean? So now when they click on that link, they come to a Google Docs shared folder. That folder, called Week 1, which is the same title. You see Week 1 Reality Check, same title, Week 1, Alright, so when they click on that link, they see the assignment, which is that full page document that they would hopefully print out or at least download and have on their flash drive. And I will say now that when I started typing all of this or redefining it in Microsoft Word, I finessed it a little bit more and I elaborated on it, so I didn't worry about it going over to be 2 pages. Whereas before within Blackboard, I was worried, it's too much, let's turn it into bullets. So because it's in the Word document, I didn't have that same feeling of feeling restricted. Not that that really matters, but just an FYI. So the next part, obviously, they can download the lab rules or download my syllabus. So they have access to the exact same content. It's just from a different click method. Alright, so if they were to actually click on lab rules, this is a PDF within Google Docs, which means that it would open up. This is the nice part about it, is that this, so far, it hasn't been entirely cloud-based. So unless they actually download one of those files, they're viewing everything over the internet. So this might be easy on the user's perspective. Alright, so what I really did to get to that point is the real question. So I started by logging into my campus Google Apps account, Google Apps, and then from there clicking on the Google Drive. So in your case, Google Drive might say Google Docs if you have not upgraded to Google Drive. Okay, yeah, now that I've got that out of the way. So I clicked on Google Drive, and from there you'll see that the very first photo is called Visco. So that's for visual communications, where I teach out of. So yours might be English or math or whatever subject matter that you teach. And you'll notice that it says shared, and it has a little shared icon next to it. So obviously that folder has been shared. So if I were to actually click on that folder, then you would see folders for every course that I teach within Visco, or at least every course that I've enhanced content within Google Docs for those Visco courses. So you see content here for 110, 115, and 135. These are all classes that I've uploaded PowerPoints to, or syllabi, or whatever the case may be. So if I were to actually click on 135, so you see also from the left-hand navigation there that under Visco, then 135 is expanded, and under 135 at the moment right now, I only have week 1 existing there because I'm only like 2 steps or maybe a step and a half ahead of where you are right now, or where I would really be for the entire quarter, and my students would never know the difference as long as I'm 2 steps ahead. So far, so good. So up to this point, I've created a folder called Week 1 Reality Check, which falls in line with Week 1 back in Canvas. So if I actually get inside of Week 1 Reality Check, then you see that the content there contains all the files which I showed previously, but in this case, it's from my point of view. So I have all of the options. Previously, I showed you this view from the student's point of view, which shows the big icons. You see the PDF icons. In this case, I have all the options to do anything that I want to because it's my hierarchy. Alright, so the last thing that I did once I uploaded my content to that folder within Google Docs was click on the sharing settings. So I modified this, or I hit the change button. It would probably by default say private, which is only accessible by the instructor. But in this case, I hit change and I said anyone who has the link can view this. So this means that no one has to really log in to anything to actually view this content. So I made that change, and then at the top, like magic, that link appeared. So I would just copy that link and then put that inside of Canvas. So you see, obviously, the very first link there is Week 1 Google Docs, yada, 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 and that points to that same content. So next, we'll focus on the actual hands-on portion. For those of you who are attending this virtually, I'm sorry, the session is about to end, but stay tuned. So far we've covered the introduction and course content. Coming up in more of these short videos will be how I handle assignments, discussions, announcements, and then preparing for day 1. Da-da-da-dum. Thank you very much.